Russian forces are pounding targets across Ukraine today, taking aim at supply lines for foreign weapons in the west and intensifying an offensive in the east. Now, meanwhile, the European Union moved today to further punish Moscow for the war with a proposed ban on oil imports.
So for the latest developments in the Russian attack on Ukraine, let's go live now to CTV's Omar Sachedina, who's in Kyiv. Omar, lots happening across the country. Let's start with the east, because there have been intensified battles on that Azovstal steel plant where hundreds of civilians are still trapped. And now there are reports that the government has lost contact with the Ukrainian forces there.
Yeah, it's an extremely desperate situation, Nick and Jennifer. We know that the civilian evacuations, people are trying to continue with that, carry on with that, but it is an extremely difficult situation because that steel factory continues to be battered, continues to be pounded, even though the Russians are denying it. We know that there are hundreds of civilians who are still trapped inside that facility, and as many as 2,000 Ukrainian soldiers, which has really been the last stronghold of Ukrainians, and they're defiantly taking a stand. Some of those people, as we have been reporting the past few days, have been able to leave, not just from that plant, but also from the city itself. They've gone to a city called Zaporizhzhia, which is under Ukrainian control, and medical officials, as well as officials from the Red Cross, have been saying today that each and every one of those people has had to undergo some kind of treatment, because you can only imagine the kind of physical trauma that they have undergone, the fact that they haven't eaten for weeks, not to mention the emotional trauma as well. So this will be something that they will have to deal with for months, years, decades to come. And certainly there is no all clear in the city of Mariupol. Still, it is a strategic hub in the south. And so, you know, the Russians are relentless. They've captured about 97, 98% of the city, but certainly haven't been able to get all of it. And they are fighting relentlessly to try to capture the entire city.
And Omar, let's circle back to the EU oil import ban or proposals to restrict more of that. Who is that potentially going to impact the most right now here? Because they've already, stopped. Some places have already stopped taking Russian oil.
Yeah, I think if you look at a country like Hungary, Hungary has said flat out that it will not go for this, and the reason that's important is because in order for this plan to go through, and just as by way of a quick recap, the top EU official there is saying that she'd like for the countries to ban imports of Russian oil before the end of the year, so in the next 6 months or so. However, Hungary is a huge importer of Russian oil and gas, and it has said that it won't go for this plan. So certainly these proposed sanctions, which, by the way, would be the 6th round of sanctions, will be the subject of a significant and a fierce debate, and also noteworthy because the European Union sends Russia every day, it's a staggering number, $850 million to buy its oil and gas. And so if that's cut off, that would be a huge hit for Russia's coffers. We also know that it gets a significant amount of its revenue from selling energy. So this would be potentially disastrous for Russia, and also for some countries in the EU, potentially disastrous as well, even though there has been a push in recent months to try to find other sources of oil and gas and not rely as much on Russia. The fact of the matter remains that Russia is a huge supplier of oil and gas to the continent, and so it now has to, if it does go ahead with this plan, and again, all 27 member states have to agree to this, it will have to pivot very quickly to try to find other sources of oil and gas.
All right, CTV's Omar Sachedina live for us in Kyiv. Thank you.
Thanks, Omar.